You know, deep inside all of us, there's this incredible network of secret factories running 24/7. They're making everything from the sweat on your skin to the hormones that control your mood. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on these unsung heroes of our biology, glands.
I mean, really think about it for a second. When you sweat during a workout, or you get that rush of adrenaline before a big presentation, what is actually going on in there? Where do all these essential fluids and chemicals come from? It's something we almost never think about, but it's happening inside you right now.
Well, the answer is kind of simple, but also wildly complex. It all comes down to these tiny, super powerful structures called glands. They are the source, the biological factory floor for so many of your body's most critical functions.
Okay, so to really get how these factories operate, we got to start with the absolute basics. Our first stop is answering that big, fundamental question. What exactly is a gland? So, at its most basic level, a gland is made of specialized cells. Sometimes it's just a single, dedicated cell doing all the work. Other times it's a whole group of them working together as a team. And their entire job, their whole purpose, is to create and then release a specific product, whether that's saliva, a hormone, or an oil.
All right, so how do we even begin to sort through all these different glands? Well, scientists look at them through a few different lenses, and the first one is the most important. It's all based on one simple question. When a gland makes its product, where does that product go? Does it go inside the body or out?
And this slide breaks down the two main types perfectly. So on the left, you've got exocrine glands. The way to remember this is to think exit. These glands use a little tube or a duct to release their stuff either outside the body, like sweat on your skin, or into a cavity, like saliva into your mouth. Then on the right, you have endocrine glands. These guys are ductless. They just release their products, which are mainly hormones, directly inside the body, right into the bloodstream, which then carries them wherever they need to go. Your pancreas, for instance, has endocrine parts that make some really critical hormones.
Okay, so we've got the destination down. The next way to classify these guys is to look at their internal structure. Are we talking about a one-man band or a full orchestra?
First up, you've got your unicellular glands. And just like it sounds, uni meaning one, this is an entire gland packed into a single tiny cell. You can find these little powerhouses scattered in places like your trachea and your intestines, where they're usually busy making mucus to keep everything lubricated and running smoothly.
And on the flip side, of course, you have pluricellular glands. Pluri, right, meaning many. These are the big leagues, glands made up of lots of cells all working together. And what's cool here is that this structure can apply to both of the types we just talked about. A pluricellular gland can be either exocrine, releasing its product out, or endocrine, releasing it in.
And that brings us to our third and honestly my favorite way to look at glands. We've covered where the product goes and what the gland is made of. Now we get to the really cool part. How does it actually get its stuff out? And let me tell you, there are three very different and pretty dramatic methods.
First up is the holocrine method. I like to call this one the ultimate sacrifice. The cell works super hard producing its substance, packing it all inside until it's completely full. And then, to release that product, the entire cell, well, it basically self-destructs. It just bursts open to release everything. This is exactly how your sebaceous glands release the oil that protects your skin.
Okay, next up is apocrine secretion. This one's a little less dramatic. Here, the good stuff gathers right at the top tip of the cell. Then, that little tip, all filled up with the product, just pinches itself off and is released. The rest of the cell stays totally intact, ready to make more. This is the method used by mammary glands and even some types of sweat glands.
And last but not least, we've got the merocrine method. This is the clean, efficient, and by far the most common way to do it. In this process, the substance gets neatly packaged into these little bubbles called vesicles. The vesicles just move to the cell's surface and release their contents without causing any damage at all to the cell. It's a clean, sustainable process, which is probably why most of the glands in your body use it.
So, let's just do a quick recap of those three release styles. You've got holocrine, which is the all-or-nothing approach where the whole cell disintegrates. Then there's apocrine, where just the product-filled tip of the cell pinches off. And finally, merocrine, the clean and easy release that leaves the cell totally unharmed.
All right, we've tackled the what, the where, and the how. So that just leaves one last piece of the puzzle. What exactly are these incredible factories making?
Well, they make a ton of different stuff, but you can kind of group many of them into two main types.
First, you've got mucus, which is that thick, slippery mix of water and special proteins called glycoproteins. This is often made by those single-celled glands we mentioned earlier. And then there's serum, which is a thinner, more watery fluid that's packed with enzymes, making it perfect for jobs like helping with digestion.
So you might be thinking, okay, exocrine, holocrine, why do all these words matter? Well, it's because this isn't just a vocabulary test. Learning whether a gland is endocrine or exocrine, unicellular or pluricellular, these are the actual tools that scientists and doctors use to understand and appreciate the breathtaking complexity of the human body.
And that's our tour. From a single cell making mucus to a huge organ releasing hormones, glands really are the secret workhorses of our bodies. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. After seeing how they all work, which method do you find the most impressive? The dramatic sacrifice of the oil gland, the clever pinching off of the mammary gland, or the quiet, clean efficiency of pretty much everything else? It's kind of amazing to think about, isn't it?